Hello and welcome. Today we have a unique tarot deck to take a look at. This is the timeless classic, I would say, movie Jim Henson's Labyrinth. And this is made into a tarot deck. I absolutely love this movie. I grew up watching this movie. My daughter grew up watching this movie. And I probably still know every word to it. Anyway, when I saw this on Amazon, I had to get it. Just to curiosity, I had to check it out. Looks like it is by Insight Editions. There is a foreword by Brian Froud. And the art is by Tomas Iho. And the words are by Minerva Siegel. And the back says, discover the secrets of the labyrinth with this official tarot deck inspired by Jim Henson's cult classic film starring David Bowie, featuring Sarah, Jareth, Hagel, and more as classic tarot characters in original illustrations. This deck also includes a foreword from Brian Froud, artist and production designer on the original film. I did not know that Brian Froud was part of the making of this movie. That is pretty cool. All right, let's open this up. Okay, and here is the guidebook. And that famous door knocker on the back. Why is this not focusing? There we go. Okay. All right, there is a table of contents. I always love that. Here is the foreword by Brian Froud. I think maybe I will read this at the end, just because that might be kind of cool to look at. Introduction, understanding your tarot deck, and these are in color. Looks like as the cards are, so let's take a look at that deck. It's a nice ribbon to help lift the cards out. And this is the back of the cards. And the inside of the box are the stripes like the PJs that Toby wears in the movie. And all right, I think I'm going to try to lower this down just a little bit. Sorry for the bumping and shaking here. Let's see if this is better. That's better. All right, well, this is Sarah's journey. She is the fool in this deck. And then the magician is Jareth. Check out the little goblins at his feet. The high priestess. The empress is Sarah's stepmother. The emperor is Sarah and Toby's dad. Hagel is the Hierophant. Probably pretty fitting. Look at that handsome mug. He's such a good character in the movie. The dancers would be the lovers. The chariot. I love them. Strength. The hermit. He was quite the character too. The wheel of fortune. And this was inside the labyrinth. Justice. When Sarah falls inside the labyrinth, falls down below in the labyrinth. The hanged man. Aww. This is before they release him and realize that he's actually a gentle giant, a nice creature, and cut him down and set him free, and he joins them along the way. Okay, these are all spoiler alerts if you haven't seen the movie. You probably wouldn't be watching this if you haven't seen the movie, though. Just guessing. All right, and there is Fate. Temperance. The Demon. The Tower. Can't quite tell what that is. If that's falling or hanging. I'm assuming falling. The Star. The Moon. Of course, from the movie, if you've seen it, you know that's the peach that she takes a bite out of. The poisoned peach. The Sun. And there's Toby. His little striped PJs. Riding his little wooden horse. Judgment. They were quite the characters in the movie too. The World. And that is the Labyrinth. All right, so I'm going to set these off to the side. In this deck, the poles represent the wands, the junk represents the pentacles, the feathers represents the swords, and the pots represent the cups. So the King of Poles would be the King of Wands, the Queen of Poles, the Knight of Poles, the Page of Poles, the Ace of Poles, the Two of Poles, the Three of Poles, Four of Poles, Five of Poles, Six of Poles, Seven of Poles, Eight of Poles, Nine of Poles, and 10 of Poles, or 10 of Wands. All right, this is the King of Junks, so in traditional tarot, this would be the King of Pentacles. He's the worm at the beginning of the labyrinth. He was so cute. I liked him. The Queen of Junk. Oh, yes. Remember her from the movie. Very fitting. Knight of Junk. The Page of Junk. The Ace of Junk. And we'll just run through the numbered ones quickly. So 2 of Junk, 3 of Junk, 4 of Junk, 5 of Junk, 6 of Junk, 7 of Junk, 8 of Junk, 9 of Junk, and the 10 of Junk, which again would be the 10 of Pentacles. We're going to set this right over there. And next we have the King of Feathers. So in traditional tarot, this would be the King of Swords. I love owls. All right, the Queen of Feathers. The Knight of Feathers, the Page of Feathers, the Ace of Feathers, aww, it's kind of cute, the 2 of feathers, 3 of feathers, 4 of feathers, 5 of feathers, 6 of feathers, 7 of feathers, 8 of feathers, 9 of feathers, and 10 of feathers, or the 10 of swords. And then we have the King of Pots, which in traditional tarot would be the King of Cups, the Queen of Pots, the Knight of Pots, Atlas sighing in the background, the Page of Pots, and the Ace of Pots, the 2 of Pots, 3 of Pots, 4 of Pots, 5 of Pots, 6 of Pots, 7 of Pots, 8 of Pots, 9 of Pots, and 10 of Pots, which would be the 10 of Cups. And let's show you the size of these. In my hand, it's kind of a standard size. Let's see, move this back up a little bit. A little bit more moving here. So yes, but that size. They're pretty new. Let's go this way. Shuffle good. They are kind of a matte feel, somewhat maybe semi-gloss. They're not shiny glossy. They're pretty smooth. And I do want to take a look at, maybe we'll pick a major arcana card, because I think the descriptions in there kind of go along a little bit with the movie. Oh, we flipped right open to the Hermit. Maybe I'll read that one. The Hermit, like the wise men, is a solitary, introverted figure who spends a significant amount of time reflecting deeply on life. Upright, are you feeling confused, overwhelmed, or a little lost in a labyrinth? Just as the wise man says, sometimes the way forward is also the way back. Taking action for action's sake can lead to burnout and frustration. Pause and gather your thoughts. The clarity that follows will help reveal a more efficient way to make progress. If it is in the reversed, it does have reversals in this deck, or in this book. And reverse says, reversed, the Hermit carries a warning. Be careful not to become too introverted, or it will turn to isolation, which does more harm than good. Reflection, rumination, and soul-searching can be enlightening in moderation, but be sure to balance introversion with a healthy dose of social interaction and fun, or you may end up frustrated and starved for a stimulating conversation, like the wise man's chatty hat. That's pretty cool. And I think we'll go back and look at that, that forward. All right. Labyrinth, the movie, was born in the back of a limousine. Jim Henson, Wendy Froud, and I were driving away from the San Francisco premiere of The Dark Crystal. I love that movie too. When we looked at one another and said, "What's next?" At first, our minds soared with images of flying mythological gods, but we soon descended to more earth-bound, inner-world realms, and the vision of a human baby surrounded by fantastical goblin creatures emerged. We agreed that a labyrinth would serve not only as the physical location to anchor our developing story, but as a perfect metaphor for the human psyche's journey through the convoluted pathways of the cosmic world of mystical revelations. Well, that was the plan. Luckily, humor and a great sense of mischievous fun were added to the mix, resulting in Labyrinth. As I started to design the characters Sarah would encounter, I was aware that not only did they have to have the physical ability to express story, but they also needed to hold in their forms signs and symbols evoking an inner psychic world. As each character reveals its secret to Sarah, she is given an insight into herself and the skills she'll never... the skills she'll need to negotiate a complex and mystifying realm. There is a shimmer of Alice in Wonderland laid over the surface of Labyrinth, but Sarah's journey is profound on many levels and takes the viewer on their own personal journey as well. This is also what the Labyrinth Tarot Deck and Guidebook does. Leads the questioner on a personal pathway through the labyrinth and all the revelations, both expected and unexpected, that reside within. Jim Henson was a brilliant world builder. He created mindscapes that are deep and multifaceted, that live forever in our minds and hearts. It is no accident that the characters of Labyrinth inhabit the same dynamic as tarot. Once they are liberated from the timeline of the movie's story, they are free to open the secret doors that reveal the meanings and connections of a magical universe. The genius of Tomás Hijos cards is that they are rooted in the tradition of the Rider-Waite deck, yet they feel like they've been crafted by the goblins themselves. Stained with the spirit of wry wisdom and incised with mordant humor. In this deck, the turn of a card is a turn in the labyrinth, where quirky characters are wise and perceptive, as well as deceptive and at times frustrating, but above all, suffused with the benign anarchy of Jim Henson's unique vision. So, turn over a card and step onto the path. The labyrinth awaits you. It's pretty cool. I do like this deck. There's one thing that with the minor arcana, these cards would have been nice to have, more from the movie than just the number of objects of each, but I think all in all, I'm going to definitely enjoy this deck. So, I appreciate you going through this deck with me, and let me know in the comments if you've used this deck. Do you like this deck? What do you think about it? And are you a fan of the movie? Anyway, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it, and until next time.